Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode, week five edition of the Couch Experts podcast. My name is Jamari Moore, and I have my co-host here, Zayn Ali here. Zayn, how you doing this week, man?
No complaints, just same old, same old. Homework at school this week. Getting into the grind of grading, getting into the grind of planning, and all that good stuff. How about you?
Oh man, a lot of the same. I'm still trying to catch up, man. It's a marathon. Could you give just a quick insight of like a normal day as a teacher for
Oh
the
boy.
listeners out there?
So I'm not doing any coaching right now. So like a normal day for me is like wake up 5:30. I got about
Yeah,
a 30-minute drive to my school.
right,
And so
right.
I'll wake up about 5:30, get ready. The goal is to be out of the house by like 6:30. Get to school about 7:15, and then usually I'll have like a duty. Middle school, you gotta usually have like a hallway duty or something like that. So then
Right.
school all the way till like 3:15, 3:30, and then
Mhm.
come home. Usually cook some dinner and start homework, man. So that's pretty much the grind. Try to get a little bit of exercise in there somewhere, but haven't been as good with it as I can. That
You
sounds
have
pretty
time to
similar to you.
exercise. You have time to exercise.
When I say exercise, it might be a walk or a run for like 30 minutes, maybe an hour max. It's not
That's
a
good.
it's not a 2 hour lift like it used to be or an hour.
That's one of the biggest struggles I've had when I started teaching was trying to find time because I'm an early bird, just like you. I'll get to school between 6:37, even though we're contracted from 8 to 4.
Yeah.
And man, like that was one of the biggest struggles. Is I'm like, man, I have to catch up with all of this stuff. And me practicing with some of my guys has been helpful in
Hmm.
coaching and everything like that with football and track and field. But yeah, man, that's something that I'm very impressed that you're able to do that, especially with still taking your own classes. I know that can be tough.
Well, I was gonna say it's definitely not a hardcore workout. I think I ran once, maybe twice last week. I don't even
Hmm.
remember. I think the other days it was just like get outside and walk for like 30
Hmm.
minutes. So you're probably definitely getting a lot more with practice.
Yeah, for
But
sure,
how's
for
the team
sure.
looking, by the way?
The team. So right now we're sitting at 2-2. So we're
Okay.
even. So it's going to be 2-2 is going to be the theme today. Two and
Yep.
two is going to be
Yep.
the theme today. But we're 2-2. So I think we're at a decent start. And we'll be getting ready for our game, I believe, against Highlands Ranch. So we'll see how that goes. They're a pretty good team, and we'll see what happens when we have our next episode. Then we'll be able to get updated on that. So I'm excited about that. But if we look at the 2-2 theme, we are now at 2-2. We are
Yep.
dead smack in the middle right now, going into the bye week. And so, first, I want to just get into a little bit of just Colorado in general, the atmosphere. Listen, man, I try to be able to go to the game. I try to get tickets. Extremely difficult to get tickets. I mean, 300 plus for a nosebleed is ridiculous. And there's just so much hype around this Colorado team. They call it the prime effect out here. I don't know if you saw the Instagram video this week. It was a video of Ice Cube at Colorado practice, like giving like this like motivational motivational speech to beat us. Did you see that video?
Oh, it's no, I didn't see that one. I mean, dude, you remember that first year he took over Colorado, though? Like their first opening night, they had like Kawhi Leonard was there, and they
Yeah.
had all these big name rappers were there, and I was like, oh my goodness,
Wheezy
because
was
like,
there. Yeah. Kevin Durant, I think he
yeah,
showed up at some
KD
point.
was there, yeah,
The
and we're
prime effect
talking
is
like
real.
Boulder is like a really ritzy mountain town, and it
Yeah.
just overnight that prime effect. You were like, oh boy, like this is awesome for Boulder to see. But no, did you see how many people are on Deion Sanders' staff?
No, I actually didn't. I saw like I saw how many people. I don't have an exact number. Do you
He
have
has
like maybe
like
estimate?
he has like somebody on a podcast I was listening to last week, like over 40 coaches. He has analysts, directors of well, everybody has analysts, but private security to the head coach. He's
Private
got
security, jeez.
character coach. He's got. I'm trying to see if there's any other random ones. I guess there's just a whole bunch of them. But I mean, to be fair, when you have that money, why not? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So
I
good,
mean,
good
use
for
it
them.
to that advantage. Yeah, man. So I didn't, because I didn't get a chance to go to the game. I went to a sports bar. I went with my partner. Shout out Sally, that's her name. And I also went with some of my friends as well, like Haley. I mean, so we got a chance to go to Tom's Bar down in McGregor Square out in Denver. Good atmosphere. A lot of Colorado fans. I realize I don't very often go to places to watch my favorite team and be the minority person. It's kind of fun, but annoying at the same time because of how the game
Oh
went.
yeah.
But sold out crowd.
Yep.
The environment, it looked electric. I talked to some people who were there. Seemed like they had a ton of fun. A fun fact, I don't know if you were aware of this, but we hadn't played Colorado since I believe 2009.
Hmm.
And usually there's a lot of contract stuff that goes into what schools are playing with each other. When I was a player, man, we collaborated a lot with Colorado on getting film from each other. We never used to
Hmm.
play, especially when we were getting ready to play CSU, because obviously CU and Colorado played each other, or yeah, CU and CSU
Rocky
played
Mountain
each other.
Showdown.
Yeah, so the Rocky Mountain Showdown. Yeah, so there was a lot of collaboration between our programs for a while. So this is actually like a pretty historic note and a pretty big deal that we got a chance to play them. Just general takeaways to start, man. What were some general takeaways that you had just looking at the game?
So general takeaways for me, slow start. You
Mm,
texted me that too, and I thought the same thing. It was a slow start. We started to pick up steam at the end, but we
mm,
just weren't able to capitalize it in the long term. If we look at the
yeah.
Wyoming offense, Kaden Anderson, 11 to 25 for 176, had two
Mm,
touchdowns. Also had four rushes for
yeah.
-5 yards.
Mm,
Sam Harris, he was really once again our bright spot, right?
yeah.
19 carries, 126 yards. He had a long of 50. And then we have Eric Richardson, 41 yards and a touchdown. Chris Durr also had 5 catches for 50 yards and a
Mm,
touchdown. And then Evans Svoboda had a nice grab. So when you look at the offensive stats, I mean, you're looking at Caden Anderson below 50% completion rating.
yeah.
I know a lot of people are starting to press the panic button both with Jay Johnson and with Caden Anderson.
Yeah.
I want to preface it before I ask you. I'm not ready to hit the panic button on those two guys. I think
Hmm.
Colorado. I know a lot of fans are saying, "Oh, Colorado's not a good team." Well, Colorado had a lot of transfers.
Yeah.
Shadur went to the league. The
Right.
Heisman Trophy winning Travis Hunter went to the league. So
Travis
we're
Hunter.
talking a lot of turnover on this Colorado team. And at the same time, what fans need to remember, the disparity in NIL money
Yeah.
is substantial. That
Right.
O line is very, very expensive. I don't remember what they paid. I remember hearing a rumor how much they paid for that O line, but it was substantial. Now, with that being said, it felt like at the end there we had an opportunity to capitalize, but that's kind of how I'm feeling about it. How are you feeling about them?
Man. So just breakdown of the game when I'm watching. Right away, you see the defense being able to keep up, I would say. And the reason why I say keep up in the sense is because of this slow start with the offense. And like we talked about last week, if you aren't on the field and having a good time of possession, man, that those guys get tired. So I felt like with us having a slow start offensively, again, that's going to go back into the defensive guys, you know, being gassed a little bit. But I felt like field position played a key role early on. Um, I think we were starting with some pretty poor field position, so then it also goes into some special teams. They had some pretty big returns throughout this game. We didn't always have the best returns in this game, so I think that that is one of the biggest things that stuck out to me right away. And yeah, like Colorado, man, they needed to settle in as well. They didn't really get going right away, so I felt like I felt somewhat like okay, we're in this game. You know, both teams are trying to figure each other out, size each other up. And again, the defense they kept They kept us in it, but the offense, we just couldn't find it. And then there was the explosion, the explosion in the second quarter, where we just weren't taking advantage of the opportunities. We were getting opportunities to score and drive the ball, but man, the only thing we could have managed was a field goal going into the half. And I think that this slow start, especially with teams that are really competitive, that is something that we have to clean up. Is we have to start faster, because what you'll see in the later half of the game, when the offense started to move the ball, we just didn't have enough time. We didn't have enough time. And so you kind of have to consider that, and fans have to consider the timing in which people are starting to find their groove is really important, to find it sooner than later. And I just think that the biggest thing, we've seen a lot of some of the same struggles. I will say offensively, with our line, we gave up some pressure early on as well, and that hurt us. But we got to have a faster start, man. Like, it's just, we can't, especially going into conference play after this bye. We just can't afford to continue to start slow, because these games are going to be extremely competitive, and the margin for error in these games is very small. And so that's going to be one of my biggest takeaways in general, is just the slow start. And I also seen a lot of people really questioning the coaching. I don't know if you've seen a lot of the talk with just some of the coaching decisions, but is that something that you're hearing or seeing related to coaching? Because that was one of the biggest criticisms was also seeing with just the offense, and coaching in general across the staff.
Yeah, so like I said, a lot of people are starting to hit
The panic button.
for lack of a better word, the oh crap button on Kaden Anderson
Hmm.
and Jay Johnson. They're saying that
Hmm.
Kaden Anderson doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. He's having processing speed. They say
Yeah.
that Jay Johnson's offense is stagnant. Look, it could be that. It could. I'm not ready to bail on those guys, but it very well could be. What I will tell you is we've seen a lot of quarterbacks come in after Josh left,
Yeah.
and a lot of guys that you had the privilege to play
Yeah.
with.
Hmm.
And what I will say is that Caden has moved the ball in the offense more consistently than I have seen any other quarterback since Josh.
That's fair.
Now, does he have some issues? Yes. You look at 11 for 25. There are times where you think accuracy might be a little bit of an issue. But with that being said, this is this kid's eighth start now.
Yeah.
So he is still a young player. He's still a sophomore.
Right.
Jay Johnson, he was like coach of the year or won an award as an offensive coordinator for Michigan State. Like
Hmm.
he doesn't not know what he's doing. I think
Right.
fans are just we live in a world of college football where it's very impatient, and I think this is an offense that we can't pay the premium to go out and get these five-star guys or these
Yeah.
proven starters from other programs. This is a developmental program. This has always
Hmm.
been a developmental program.
Yeah.
And I think fans are seeing teams like Auburn, they're seeing teams that have struggled in the past that were able to just buy a team essentially, kind of like Texas Tech. And so I think they're getting impatient, but this isn't that version of the team, or this isn't a version of a team like that. Are you getting any worries with the coaching staff or anything like that? Or are you kind of like me, maybe just a little bit more patient?
I'm not necessarily worried about the coaching staff. I think that there were many plays that I saw where a guy might have been schemed open, or there's a hole that's open, but guys are missing blocks. I think it's a difference between, what coaching is, like, it's twofold. So it's kind of tricky, right? Because on the one end, you want a coach that's able to put players in the right position to make a play. The other side of it is you have to be able to coach players enough to make sure that they're executing at a high level and practicing really hard, so that in the game, you kind of have this muscle memory of how to attack a play, how to finish after a block, how to rally to the football. And so it's twofold, and I think that that's the part that I just don't know what it looks like, right? I think that there were times where I've seen drop passes, missed assignments, right? So a coach can draw up the perfect play, but if it's not executed, then it's only so much you do. So then you kind of have to ask the question: to what extent is it on the players, and one is on the coach. Because the coach, you know, I'm dealing with the same thing, man, as a Bears fan. And if anybody else that are Bears fans that are watching, we have a new coach, Coach Ben Johnson. And if you listen to his interviews, he's keeping it straight up. He's not BSing us. He's not trying to tell us something we want to hear. He is telling us, hey, we're not practicing like a championship caliber team. And so he's putting those players out there, and people are going to have mixed opinions about how the coach handles the media. But I think the players are also acknowledging this. A quote that I found from Anderson, right? He said, "We can't keep digging ourselves into a hole." And then he continues saying that we have to start fast and executing the basics, right? Now, the basics, fundamentals, it usually what that comes down to. And when players acknowledge that, right, I think about discipline because obviously with strength and speed and athleticism and all of these different talents, it can get very easy to move away from the fundamental. But sometimes that's really all you really need is to do something simple very well. So I think it's good that we're going into a bye week because they'll be able to really hone in on those fundamentals. However, with that being said, we can talk a lot about the things that we didn't do right, but we have to give Colorado a lot of credit because there was a lot of things that they did right. And there's a ton of highlights in the game that would suggest that they were fired in on all cylinders at some point. I think with Colorado, right, some of the things that, even though I think defense kept up for the most part, they had that explosion in the second quarter, and we slowed them down in the second half. Their quarterback, what is it, Salter? He didn't have a single interception, right? 3 touchdowns, 304 yards passing. You know, their running back had a long 44-yard run, almost 100 yards. Their receiving core, three different receivers scoring touchdowns, right? So, um, you know, we gave up some explosive plays. Um, and those explosive plays can be a huge momentum like killer for a lot of teams. We had our show of explosive plays, but I think that was encouraging. Like on the second half, I think that again we're gonna play teams that have good days and that have solid offenses. And so for me, I think one of the biggest things that's going to be really important for us is being able to one create better field position in special teams. Um, because I mean they had some really big returns where that then just makes it harder for the defense, and even if we do get a stop, it makes it 10 times harder for the offense. You know, looking more deeper into the defense, right? Braden Johnson, 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, right? Braden Wilson, 4 tackles, 1 sack, TFL. We're having success still on the defense. The turnover battle, that's something that um, we might have could have done better on in this game, but fumble recovery, right? Forced fumble, it's there, it's right there, but it's all three phases of the game, man. Like, and I don't know how much fans really understand that. I do think fans are getting smarter, but it's like we look at these stats and we look at these numbers. When you watch the game, it's like all three phases have to come together in order for it to really work. And I think that a lot of fans, and I'm just calling it straight, like are really wanting and having more expectations for the offense being a little bit more consistent.
No, I would agree. And I think, Coach Savell, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said it best. He said that we were really tough. We played really physical. We played really tough, but
Hmm.
we lost the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
Same thing with Utah. We lost the line of scrimmage.
yeah,
Kind of going back to what you were saying with, um, I'm going to murder his name here, but Saltaire. Every
mm,
time every time we had pressure on him, he
yeah.
stepped up in the pocket and was able to make a really nice rush.
Right, right.
And kind of going back to what you said last week, it comes back to
Mm,
complementary football and just being
yeah.
able to get the offense on the field, but then the offense being efficient with it. Now, don't get me
Mm,
wrong, the offense was way more efficient with it this week than they were last week. Last week or this week, excuse me, they had 32 minutes of possession to Colorado's 27 minutes of possession. So
right.
at least we weren't killing the defense this week. they weren't on the field the entire game. But again, it's something where every phase of the game needs to complement each other, and we just weren't able to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Again, shout out the guys that you mentioned, but also shout out special teams. Sandvik had 2 field goals. Both of them looked good. I know he was struggling early with kicking, so I was
Yeah,
glad to see that. But
that's a big one.
yeah, overall, I think you're absolutely right.
So, with that being said, right, what are your just overall thoughts moving into the bye week, moving into just conference play and these games holding a significant amount of weight?
Overall, I think we're in a good spot. I think we're in a better spot than people realize. What I will say is we're coming into conference play against an extremely tough UNLV team.
Right.
They're bringing in a whole bunch of transfers. A lot of people didn't think
Mm-hmm.
that they would be good,
Yeah.
and they're sitting here at 3-0, and they look fantastic. Again, kind of like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, learn from your mistakes. Obviously, Colorado taught us that mobile quarterbacks can be a killer, right? They can
Mm-hmm.
step up in that pocket. You can cover everywhere else, but maybe that's a weakness we have on the interior line. Maybe that's
Yeah.
something we need to be better prepared for. We saw it with Dampierre as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think we bottled up Dampierre better than we did Saltaire. So
Yeah.
whatever package they had in there for a spy on him, maybe that's something we just need to adapt.
Right.
But I think just learning from our mistakes. I thought the offensive line, there was quite a bit of pressure, but I do think they played better against
Mm-hmm.
Colorado. I don't hate where we're at. We're 2-2. We're 500. We're entering conference play. The goal is always to make a bowl game, and that is not out of reach. We're not 0-4. This isn't a terrible football team. I mean, we've seen some bad Wyoming football teams where they've only had 2 wins. This is not that team.
Let me ask you a question. What type of game do you want to see? Do you want to see a game where offense is coming out, the defense is trying to stop them, but they're going to get there, so maybe a high scoring game? Do you want to see realistically what we've been seeing, where maybe it's a slow start or inconsistency in offense, but we're stopping them, we're staying in the game, and it's close? Between those two, which would you rather see?
I would rather us come out a I'd rather us come out a little sluggish and then finish strong, kind
Mm-hmm.
of like Colorado. I don't mind that, right? Because I think Wyoming, as long as I've seen them, if they come out really
Mm-hmm.
strong, like under Bowl for whatever reason, if the team came out really strong, we tended to fizzle in the back half.
Yeah,
I'd rather us find our groove in the back half and be able to close it out.
right.
That's where I'm personally at, but obviously every game is different. I would love
Mm-hmm.
for them to just put their foot on their throat in the
And do
first
both
quarter and never
well.
look
And do
back,
both
but
well. Yeah.
yeah,
Let me
yeah.
ask you a question. It's my second question. How many points do you think the offense needs to score to say guaranteed we win this game?
It's a great question. How many points would they need to score? I mean, guaranteed. I think if you get into that 28 and above category,
Mm-hmm.
you are 4 scores or more. Not to sound like Abraham Lincoln,
Yeah.
but 4 scores or more. I think right there, you're showing the defense there's nothing they can do to stop you. But
Yeah.
I think ultimately it comes more to your guys' mentality you had on defense is
Right.
17 points or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal for sure. I think if you can get to that one, it's a lot better because as we know from the Bengals, you could be in a shootout every single weekend
Yeah.
and might have to go that route. So how about you,
Yeah.
man?
Not this past weekend though. So here's the deal, and here's why I brought this question up. I feel like since I've been associated with Wyoming, we've either had a really productive offense and lackluster defense, or a really shut down defense and struggling offense. And more times than not, it's been like the defense kind of the ones that shut it down, and offense, it's hard to be consistent. Now, my first year, here's a trivia: 2016, we're at UNLV. I don't know if you know this game. How many points do you think the offense scored in UNLV in 2016? I think this game was in November.
42. That
42.
was Gentry's game where he went off for 3 touchdowns.
Yes,
Had a one-handed grab.
we scored 66 points in that game
66. Okay.
and
Okay.
lost the game.
Yep.
We lost
Yep.
the game scoring 66 points. It was 66-69 UNLV. Unreal, unbelievable. So when we play UNLV, I think about that game a lot because that was the year we went to the championship. And that was the year Josh was coming off of the injury.
The
And
collarbone, yep.
yeah, the collarbone injury. And we had a lot of offensive seniors who were just stellar. Brian Hill at running back. We also
Jacob
had
Hollister.
Jacob Hollister, right? Shout out Jake Hollister, right? We had Tanner Gentry. There's a ton of guys that I could list on that offense. Jake Mohar, like it's just a ton of guys,
Well, in the
receivers,
defense
running
back
back.
then too, the young talent we had, including you, but I mean, um, where are these guys at? Logan Wilson was having a phenomenal year. Andrew Wingard,
Cash
Johanna
Model,
Gaffon was
yeah.
absolutely lighting it up. KP was doing well. Cash
Mm-hmm.
was doing. Oh yeah, Rico
Josiah
was playing lights
Hall,
out.
Rico.
Yeah.
I think more so with the defense that year, I think the coaching was something that was hurting us a lot because then we once the coaching once some changes in the coaching staff happened that next season, our defense was significantly better, but we lost all of those seniors, and so there was somewhat of a drop off with us just being a younger team offensively
Hmm.
that 2017 season. But UNLV, man, this year again, offense is gonna. I mean, their offense is gonna test our defense again, and I think the benefit that we have obviously is a bye week to get guys healthy. I think that's gonna be number one because there's a lot of guys that are playing through things. There's a lot of guys who can help us a lot more if they're a little bit more healthy. There's just a bunch of different facets of it that is going to be really important having time off. Now, obviously, you don't want to come out rusty, but it's going to be a big challenge this week facing up with UNLV. They are points per game. What I'm looking at here, they're almost 40 points a game, right? 7 yards a play, 6.4 yards per rushing. Their passing efficiency is out of the charts. They have 8 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, allowing 5.3 yards per play given up. So I think there's maybe a little bit of opportunity on offense, but defense are going to have their hands full. And I think that our defense, shout out Coach Aaron Bowl, I think we can definitely slow them down. But the offense, we need to have that complementary football and actually take advantage of those opportunities and come out strong, staying on blocks, getting the ball out fast, making catches right. Because again, when you have drops and missed assignments, that's just shooting yourself in the foot. That's shooting yourself in the foot. And we need to be able to take advantage of any opportunity we get. Who are some key players you think we need to focus on the UNLV side and some of their key contributors?
So they got a couple of guys we got to keep an eye on. Their quarterback, I'm going to butcher his name, Jaden Mayava.
Mm-hmm.
745 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's really good. He's got a really good pocket presence. He steps up in the pocket when he needs to.
Yeah.
Really good running back as well. Jaden Thomas, 210 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaging 5.5 yards per carry.
Right.
Receiving wise, we got to look out for Ricky White, has 17 receptions, 280 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Right. Right.
So offensively, they're kind of a three-headed monster. They can run the ball. They have some good depth at wide receiver, and if push comes to shove, Jaden just takes off with it. It
Mm.
sounds a lot like Colorado, and
Yeah.
so this is their head coach. I'm blanking on his name right now. Let me pull him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan Mullen. There we go. He was
Mm.
actually, I believe he was a grad assistant under Urban Meyer back when
Yeah.
they were at Salt Lake,
Yeah.
and
That's
so
right. Yeah.
he's been everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He's an offensive guy. He was at Florida before he got fired. He was an ESPN analyst for a year, and then he
Mm-hmm.
took over this job. So this isn't a coaching staff that doesn't know what they're doing, and they didn't bring in scrubs. I mean, this is a team full of transfer portal guys. A lot of people, me included, I didn't know what we were going to get out of UNLV. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing with transfer portal era. We have no idea what it's going to look like. I think what we're seeing is a mini version of Arizona State University from last year. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to say that they are ASU. I think they're good. I don't. That team was unreal.
Right. Right.
I
Mm-hmm.
gotta watch them, but yeah, they. I think there's a bunch of guys we got to keep an eye on. Anybody you're specifically keeping an eye
A lot of those same guys. I think defensively, linebacker. Excuse me, Jane. I think it's Jacob Woodard. He's had 28 tackles so far, 2 tackles for loss, and just when you have really good linebackers, that heart of the team, that's going to be really critical in being able to get a body on them. So what that means and how this works just logistically, usually if you have a very disruptive D lineman, like D tackle, D end, that's going to demand a lot of attention from the O line and free up linebackers. So we have to be able to make sure that we're executing our combos really well and climbing up to that backer and get a body on them fast. Um, but if we struggle too much the with the rush, with trying to clog up that, trying to stop them from clogging up the hole, then those backers are going to run free, and that's something that we don't want. I'm always looking at that because, again, right now where we're at so far into the season, if I'm looking at this correctly, we're 16, 8.7 points per game, right? So that's going to have to, right? We're going to have to get above that. We're 5.3 yards per play, which isn't bad, but that's not necessarily a recipe for high scoring. It's a recipe to maybe move the ball, time possession, and stay on the field, but we're going to need to up these numbers, right?
No, I agree. And one thing that I heard about UNLV, I was listening to a podcast today, and then I was actually watching a little bit of their old tape. They do a lot of cover zero, which Jamari, you'll have to fill us in on what cover zero means. But to me, it means that they're just looking for the big play. So they're getting after the quarterback. So they get a lot of pressure. They get a lot of tackles for loss. They get a lot of sacks, but they also give up a ton of big plays. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something Wyoming can use to their advantage. We saw a 30-yard screen pass to Sam Scott this last week against Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Tote Harris is built for a nice draw play up the middle. I think this offense really can do a lot of good things with UNLV and the aggressiveness
Mm-hmm.
they want to have on defense. Is that pretty accurate, would you say, Jamar?
Yeah, so to give the listeners a little bit of context for something called cover zero, when you hear these numbers that comes out for the word cover, so cover one, two, three, four, five, and six, that's usually speaking to the coverage for DBs and linebackers, sometimes even DNs or D tackles. But essentially, that's usually how many people you have high or the high coverage that you're playing. So, for instance, cover one, you would usually have one free safety that's high, and then everybody else under is playing man coverage, right? Uh, Cover zero would be man coverage, but what that means is you might have a blitzer or two, and then everybody's just in coverage. There's nobody, no high safety. So in a cover zero situation, that means there's a lot of pressure. And the goal necessarily isn't to make an interception, but more so get to the quarterback, make them make a bad decision. So we can go over the cover two, what that means, too high, cover three, all of that stuff. But I think the point and the moral of the story here is that the receivers have to get open. They have to beat their man, right? Somebody that comes to mind when I think about possibility on a man beater is Chris Durr, right? So I think that he's going to be somebody where we can get him in space or get him to separate with his speed and shiftiness, get off that man coverage, or even just schematically, right? A lot of crossing routes, a lot of different things that's going to put them in awkward positions. Um, but we also have to get it out quick because in man coverage, there's usually some type of pressure that's coming. So we're going to have to be able to make quick reads and identify what the coverage is. And so it's going to depend also how well they disguise. If they're able to disguise really well, so make it look like zone, and then they're playing man, or they can look like man and then end up playing zone. So that's going to be really important for our quarterback to be able to read and understand what coverages they're playing. And again, really good defenses can make things look extremely different, and that is where quarterbacks can get in trouble. Is they make a misread because of a disguise. I don't know if that makes sense to you or the
Oh, yeah.
listeners, but that's going to be something that is really key. And if they love playing man coverage, there's going to be opportunities, but you got to take advantage of them. They have to be quick. We have to create separation as receivers. So
We saw it a couple times in that Colorado game.
Mm-hmm.
Wyoming showed pressure with 5 and then dropped 2 and actually only rushed 3. What would that play call be in the defensive huddle?
Oh man, it's really gonna depend. So like, let's say when we were playing, man. So when the last time I remember me being on defense, we were playing with I think Scott Hazelton. Shout out
Mm-hmm.
Coach Hayes. He's awesome. We had something called the up package where we'll have a safety and a linebacker up on the line of scrimmage, or both linebackers on the line of scrimmage. And we can do things from, running basically games with the D linemen. So we can run some pick plays with the D line and in a linebacker. We can drop those guys. So it can be like, I don't know. Usually there's like a word or a signal to let you know what coverage you're playing. So let's just say when we were playing a cover 3 nickel, at the time that I was playing, we called it Bozeman. So it'd be something like up Bozeman left, and then there'll be some like name to indicate who's blitzing, right? I remember when we did fire zones, it was like up shark, up fire, right? And it just spoke to like specific linebackers or safeties. And so, depending on the personnel that you have on defense, you can get really creative with how you make it look, how you organize it, who's guarding. Like, you can get very creative depending on your personnel. And I honestly think Aaron Ball has done like an amazing job with being able to make sure that guys are in the right spot. If you look back at the Colorado game, there was a lot of instances where guys were where they needed to be. We just maybe didn't finish a tackle, right? Like there was some issues with arm tackling, which that always frustrates me when somebody tries to
I
arm
was
tackle
gonna
and not
say,
wrap up. But when you watch
shout
the
out
game,
Aaron Bowl.
yeah, when you watch the game, it's not too many times where there's a busted or blown coverage. There's not too many times where you see somebody just wide open, nobody there. It's usually an execution deal. Somebody either got outran or we just didn't make a tackle. But those guys are in the right spot to make a play.
They had that I think it was the slot. I don't remember what wide receiver it was. He
Mm,
broke it off the right hand side for that
yeah.
big touchdown when he pointed him down.
Hmm.
That was the only mental error I saw, and it wasn't even really a mental error. That
Yeah.
outside, I don't know if he was a backer or if he was a DB. He was just trying to
Hmm.
contain the run. Ball got behind him, but no,
Hmm.
Aaron Bull's defense, man. I don't want to say anything negative about last year, but it's night and day. From a mental discipline standpoint, this team does not make
Hmm.
many mental mistakes. It's been
Right.
awesome to see. Last
Hmm.
night, I thought the same thing as you. I was like, why can we not finish a tackle? This was
So
the
frustrated, man.
only team
So
I have seen. We
frustrated.
finished a ton of tackles against Utah. So
Hmm.
I was really surprised by the Colorado, but that's okay. It happens. Those are really good athletes. My
Hmm.
brother-in-law texted me. He's like, it just looks like they're bigger, faster, stronger. And I was like, I think they are. I think we're just, I don't know what it is, but
Technique in
had a
its
weird night.
fundamentals and its basics. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like
Yep.
leverage and the angles you take to make a tackle, they are very important. And when you
Oh
are
yeah.
in a poor angle, it just puts you in a position to make a poor tackle. We're trying to get on our guys right now about some of those fundamental things. It's like no matter how strong you are, just putting an arm up like this is not going to bring somebody down.
Nope.
Like no matter how
Nope.
strong you are, that's just not realistic thing. And so if it's not shoulder or body, I mean the likelihood of that tackle then decreases. And if you're chasing somebody down and give somebody opportunity to give you a little stiff arms, your position in making a play is so critical, and that's a fundamental thing. That's a fundamental thing. So, with that being said, right, even though we got a couple weeks into the game, just what is some of the keys to the game or the biggest key of the game for you moving into UNLV?
So I think the biggest thing is we got to be able to finish, right? Going back
Mm,
to the time of possession, we held the ball longer than Colorado. There's
right.
absolutely no reason that we should not be scoring at the same amount as Colorado in that
Yeah.
game.
Mm,
It just comes down to execution. We can get first downs, but we're just not able to finish. And
right.
so
Right.
I think with a team like UNLV, they're going to give us opportunities with an aggressive defense, but you're
Right.
going to have to make quick decisions. You're going to have to be able to get the ball out fast, and you're going to have to
Mm,
be able to capitalize on those moments. And
mm-hmm.
so just being able to finish drives and getting
Mm-hmm.
touchdowns instead of field goals that's what I believe the key to the game is going to have to be.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Um, One of my
How
keys to the
about you?
game, man. I think their attitude going into the game is going to be number one. I think they need to view this as a must win. This is a absolutely must win that we need to come out strong. We need to bounce back. And I think when you have a good mentality and you feel like, hey, this is an important game and this is somewhat of an even slate, I think that helps. But we got to play with a sense of urgency. Um, I believe this game is at home, right? This is a home game for us.
Pretty sure.
I
Let me
believe
look.
this is a home game. The crowd, fans showing up is going to be really important. Um, and being able to use that energy and that momentum of the crowd going into the game. Uh, I think one of the biggest things, right? I don't think that the
It's at
defense will
home.
have a, yeah, I don't think the defense will have a problem with a game planning schematic standpoint. I think it's going to be more so can we finish plays, like you said, with tackling, pass breakups. We lost contain a couple of times in that Colorado game where we were in the right spot and the quarterback just were able to go around the DN, get outside the pocket and extend that play. We can't let that happen this game.
Made a
So
play.
we got to
Yep.
be able to seal the edge defensively, being able to make sure that we can get home and take care of business there. And I think offensively, we just need to move the ball and convert simple things. Like we don't need to drop these crazy schematic plays. We just need to be able to catch the ball when it comes to us. And we need to be able to control the line of scrimmage a little better than we have been because we definitely I've seen us do better on the line of scrimmage this season. And I think offensively that was something that we let go a little bit. Um, and so, yeah, I think those are going to be some of the biggest takeaways. But the mindset, man, the mindset is like, we're in it. This isn't time to panic. You said it earlier. A lot of people are hitting the panic button right now. A lot of people are talking about the coaches. And the reality is, with sports and entertainment, it's usually a pass fail type of deal. You either are hitting the mark or you're not. It's usually that's how it go. One week, hey, we're in it. We can win the whole thing. The next week, the season's over. We're screwed. And you see that a lot not just in college but in the pros where it's like a week to week basis where one week you're worried the next week you're on top of the mountaintop. So I encourage fans out there that's listening, let's just take it one game at a time. You really don't know what can happen, so taking it one game at a time I think is going to be really essential. It's going to be really critical. um and again, you just don't know what's going to happen. I think the additional thing I'll add, though, to a key game is that, and it's usually the same thing that I always go to, but we need to be able to make sure that we're creating good field position. Because special teams is usually that thing that creates big momentum shifts in the most unexpected times. And a lot of people, either from a fan perspective, even I've seen in football programs where we give a little attention to special teams and then all right, offense and defense. But special teams is so important, and that's where we need to make sure that we can do it. Um, we've had a lot of blocks this game, block kicks, or not this game this season. A lot of block kicks. Some lot of teams they usually get one block, if so, in a season. So I think that speaks to Wyoming's mentality behind special teams. Like at all the places I've been and seen, like we spend a lot of time doing drills, like little fundamental drills on how to execute schemes on special teams. So even though I felt like it could have been better this past game, I feel like that's something that's going to be a big coaching point this week. We spend a lot of time on special teams in Wyoming.
No, I agree, and I think we have 3 or 4 unblocked kicks right now. I think we're doing a
Yeah.
really good job. I wouldn't be surprised if we're like leading the nation in that statistic because, like you said, it's not a
Mhm.
very common feat, and we've done it a lot.
So real quick, there was somebody had sent me a couch question of the week that I wanted to share if that was okay with you.
Absolutely,
All right. So we both got to answer this, okay? And this is probably going to catch you off guard, but I think that
I'm
that's the
ready.
magic in it. What do you think if you think back to your time in Laramie in Laradice? And I was probably been a while since either of us been there. I'm trying to go back this year to one of these games, especially the one where Josh is coming back to retire his jersey. Hopefully, be able to
November
make it to
twenty
that one.
second, man.
Yeah. What is the ideal date night in Laramie? Night in Laramie. What is the ideal date night?
Um, so I'm lucky enough. I dated my wife all through college. So,
Nice.
um, I think her ideal date night and my ideal date night as well is she would like to go out and get some food. Probably Born in the Barn or
One of them.
honestly probably Applebee's half priced apps and drinks.
Happy
I don't know if they
half
still do.
price
Well, no,
apps. Oh my
Applebee's
god.
is closed.
Really?
Applebee's is closed, I believe, in Laramie. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Half price apps and drinks in Laramie. Then you jump over
Mm.
to Mingles, have a couple drinks, and
Mingles.
then make your way down to the Cowboy, do a little
The
dancing,
cowboy, a little
and
swing
then
dancing.
my wife is notorious for this. She'll want to head to the Buck shortly
Mm.
thereafter and just dance the night away. So I think that right
Uh,
there is probably the ideal date night. How about you, man?
the a romantic finish to a date night is just at the Buck,
Yeah,
and you just hope you don't buck roll.
yeah.
When I think about Laramie, as small as it is, there's little spots in Laramie that are really nice and can make you feel like you are. It's hard to describe. There's like little spots in Laramie that if you find it, like little creeks, um, or if you drive out a little bit, there's like really cool spots to stargaze. Like I think it's down Third or Ninth Street. I think deep down Ninth. I have to look at a map because it's been a while. But I think a good one, right? Dinner now, depending on what type of vibe you're looking for, or what type
I was gonna say,
of
are you going
fancy,
romantic or are you going like
yeah,
a fun night out?
romantic or fun night out. I try to do a little bit of both, right? So maybe it's like we can start off with dinner, like it's similar to what you said, but I'm thinking if it's like really fancy, maybe you're thinking something like maybe
Say, yeah, go a little bit
altitude
nicer.
maybe, or ribbon chop, right? So
Rib
ribbon
and chop.
chop, and then I'm with you with Mingles. Mingles, I love Mingles. It's fun, and you got to get one of the fish bowls. One of the fish
Get one of the
bowls.
fish
You got to
bowls.
get a
Play
fish
some
bowl or
pool.
two. Play some pool, right? I don't know if they still got the darts in there, but go to
Yep.
Mingles, hang out there, get a couple fish bowls, and then after you go to Mingles, then I think it goes one or two ways, right? I think you then go to maybe one of the spots where you can stargaze. There's like a spot. I think it's if I'm remembering correctly, like northeast of town, where there's like these houses high up. And if you go around that area, there's like a spot, like a dead end you drive up to, and you kind of oversee Laramie a little bit, hang out there, right? Listen to some music, or again go the similar route, go down to the Buck. Now it used to be in college, it used to be somewhere like Roxy's or something like that, but at our age, man, it might be Third Street, or
I was
a
gonna
lot of
say,
us go to Lovejoy's. Lovejoy's
I
is a
think
good
we've
spot too.
graduated
Yeah,
to, I think
graduated
we've
from
graduated to Third Street, man. I think we're there.
so definitely not Roxy's. But the cool thing about the Buckhorn, to be honest, is that the Buckhorn is one of those places where no matter what age demo you're a part of, usually like you got to go to the Buck. So you see some of the regulars there. I don't know who the guy is. He was an older gentleman. I don't know if he's still there, but he always had this like neck brace on. He just sat at the bar, and
Oh,
you know who I'm talking about.
yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, so somebody got to give me a name on him. But you just see the regulars. You see the guys at the bar in the front. You got the dance in the back, and then you got the floor that feels like it's gonna break in
Oh my
upstairs.
gosh.
So I think if you like wanting like a crazy night, you got to finish at the Buck. But if it's like a more of a chill, intimate type of night, then I go to one of these stargazing spots, or one of the spots not too like kind of like the west side of town, almost not West Laramie, but like near like getting close on the west side. There's like some pretty cool creeks and like little areas that are low key and like a little calm. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with a nice romantic or good date night in Laradice. Um,
I was gonna say if I go more that way, I'll go more like Vita Vu. Go
Vitaville.
more that
Ah,
way.
so that's like a little drive though. It's a like
Yeah.
it's not super far drive, but it's definitely a
No,
little bit
no.
out there. Or Medicine Bow. Uh,
Medicine Bow, yep.
Medicine Bow is another good one. So yeah, I think those are some pretty good deals here. So when I first got here, this is also a fun story. Backtrack real quick. When we first got to Laramie, my class, the class of 2016, a lot of us are city boys that didn't even know what swing dancing was, and so
Hmm.
we were like, man, Jubilee days were coming up. Shout out to people who are going to Jubilee days and stuff like that. Jubilee days were coming up, and it was really a big deal that the team was able to go this year because I guess years prior, guys would have, like football guys, got in a lot of trouble, get arrested, all types of stuff was happening. But we did have like a curfew. Oh, what we were doing in our dorm rooms at the time at Hill Hall, man, we had to take turns with each other, like learning how to dance. We're trying to figure out how to do a pretzel, and guys were like
Oh
beef
yeah.
over like, "Hey, it's my turn to lead. Like, come on, man. Like, it's my turn to lead. Like, let me get some in." And it was so funny. So we'd practice swing dancing with each other in Hill Hall. It was so funny, man. So do know how to swing dance a little bit. It's been a while since I've done it. I'm trying to show Sally a little bit. We got to practice more. I love to dance more with her, but in the pretzel, man, and other ones like there's other moves too. I'm just not. I don't remember the names per se. But swing dancing is fun, man, and I try to. Whenever I see people do it, it warms a little spot in my heart. Before we get out of here, I wanted to just tap in with you with other Mountain West play. Obviously, we got some other good matchups going on here. What are some matchups or games that you're going to be paying attention to this week as we go into the bye?
Well, the first thing I want to bring up, did you see San Diego versus?
Man, dominant, dominant. That was a
It was
dominant
34
performance.
nothing. They
Dominant shutout.
manhandled them. And
Dominant.
that was not what I was expecting at all. Um yeah, I was pretty mind blown by that. But
Yeah, that's a dominant
next
one.
week we obviously Wyoming's on a bye. Games of interest for me. I'm gonna try not to pick the ranked one. I'm gonna try to not pick that one, or maybe you're gonna pick that one. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go San Jose Stanford, little Cali
Okay.
rivalry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go San Jose Stanford.
Mm,
Right now, San Jose State, they're 1-2, fourth in the Mountain West, coming off a win against Idaho, and they barely beat them.
yeah.
But they took a tough loss to Texas before that. I
Mm,
still don't think we know exactly what San Jose is. They lost to Central
yeah.
Michigan week one, barely.
Yeah.
Then they got throttled by Texas, and then
Mm,
yeah. So I'm interested to see what San Jose is.
mm,
Obviously, Stanford. I don't actually know how their season is going. They're currently 1-3, so they're also a team that's
right.
not as good. Somebody's going to walk out there with a win. I like the interstate rivalry. How about you?
Interstate rivalry. Oh, I mean, that makes sense. The interstate rivalries are always cool. Man, there's a bunch of matchups here that I think of. Like, I think of CSU and Washington State. I think about that from the perspective of Mountain West versus the Pac-12. I
Mhm.
think, with all of the different movement that's happened with these teams in these conferences, that's something I pay a lot more, excuse me, a lot more attention to because I think that it means a lot more to programs now, especially the Mountain West, that they're really competing in some of these other divisions. I don't know how much people are aware of it when a lot of people were leaving the Mountain West, just all the different shifts and then adopting people. Like, we want to be able to make sure that we're able to show that there's still a lot of competition and a lot of good players that come out of the Mountain West. And there has been, right? There has been a ton of good players, but I think sometimes people automatically like, okay, all right, Mountain West team, hmm, but there's a ton of players, even just like when you look at Wyoming alone, I can just name a bunch. Obviously, the biggest one is Josh Allen, but I also think a really big one is Logan Wilson with the Cincinnati Bengals, Carl Granderson, that's with the Saints right now, dominant right now. He's probably tied for the lead in sacks right now. Um, I'll have to go back and look at that. But you have Andrew Winger, that's on the captain for the Jaguars, right? You have a ton
He
of
had a
guys
pick
that
last
are,
week.
yeah, pick, right? So there's other guys, Chad Muma, that's also on the Jaguars. There's a ton of guys that
Epps.
come out, right? Marcus Epps, right? He's played in a couple
Hmm.
teams as well. There's a few other guys, Xavier Valade, right? Shout out to X. I think he's with the Vikings right now. Um, which again, the Vikings have had a pretty good showing this past weekend against the Bengals, right? So that's dominant showing offensively, even with JJ McCarthy being out. But yeah, man, I just there. So my overall point, and there's other guys in there. Um, Traden Welch, like I want to shout all those guys out, but my biggest point is that I like to pay attention to those non-conference games to be able to allow the Mountain West to really make sure they make statement of like, hey, even just again, you brought up the Cal game, right? Like being able to show that hey, we have competitors here, we have athletes here, it's a strong division, it's a strong conference. That's just what I think about. So CSU versus Washington State, that's going to be one that I'm paying attention to. Obviously, I always talk about the Boise game, Boise and Air Force too. I don't know if you got a chance to check that one out, but
A little bit of it. It was higher scoring than I was anticipating.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Boise's defense, they let up a lot more points than I was anticipating.
Same with Air Force. Even
Yeah,
for Boise to let up 49
I mean, both of
that's
them,
unheard of.
it's crazy. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting watching this play, man. And obviously, we have a Utah State, and I think Vanderbilt's playing. They're playing this so like a Mountain West SEC matchup. So, um, yeah, that's just kind of where I leave it at. Is just being able to see us be really good in these non-conference games, being able to be a lot more front facing as the Mountain West and being able to get more good players into the league, into our conference. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah. So, but yeah, for me, I think the last thing that I just want to say is if you're watching this, number one, thank everybody that's been tuning in, watching each week. Please hit us up on socials if you have a couch question of the week. Some people have been sending it to me either just like personally or on our Instagram page or on Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, YouTube. Those are all the places that you can either comment, interact with us, hit us up. Let us know if you all have any specific topics or things that you all want to get into on the next episode. And yeah, I look forward to doing this again, seeing you guys the following week, and let us know if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, or even if you might be interested in coming on and chatting with us. 'Cause that'll be cool too. We're something that we're working on, trying to get a guest on here.
No, I agree. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We look forward to talking to you guys next week. Obviously, we're on a bye week right now, so we won't have anything to recap, but we'll find something to chat about, and yeah, we'll go from there. So shout us out, follow us on all the socials, do all the things.
All right. All right. See you guys later, and go Pokes.
Go, folks.